Everybody. Welcome to the February episode of ISSA Canada's Coffee Talk Forum. Today we are going to explore ISSA's industry-leading cleaning industry management standard, CIMS. Having been described by some as the ISO of the cleaning industry, CIMS is the first consensus-based management standard that outlines the primary characteristics of a successful quality cleaning organization. Joining us today are some special guests who will be able to provide answers to all of your CIMS questions. Charlie Janowicz is the CIMS Account Executive for ISSA. Charlie has been in the industry for over 30 years, not only as an owner of a contract cleaning business, but also holding other roles in janitorial distributor sales and janitorial power equipment management. Brent Bourne is an ISSA assessor and CIMS certification expert instructor. Covering the western portion of Canada, Brent has vast industry expertise in facility cleaning services, as well as providing consulting and training to a host of institutions, including Corrections Canada, the RCMP, Vancouver Health Authority, and many more. Derek Oliveira has been in the housekeeping industry for 20 years. Derek, currently Senior Director at Valcartec in Montreal, Quebec. Derek holds several industry certifications, including CIMS Certification Expert, CIMS Certified Professional Trainer, CIMS Green Building Assessor, and more. Derek plays a pivotal role with assisting ISSA Canada in unrolling ISSA certification programs out in the province of Quebec, as well as other French-speaking regions. Shane Ferris is the owner of the Ferris Group. With 35 years expertise in consulting, Shane has been a certified CIMS GB expert and trainer for the last 12 years. Offering consulting services to all markets, Shane specializes in policy process and procedure writing worldwide. Shane currently provides CIMS reviews and assessments in Ontario and Eastern Canada. Welcome, everyone. Before we begin, I would like to remind everyone that we will be having a question and answer session following our discussion today. So I would suggest you please utilize the chat feature or raise your hand by using the emojis. So with that, let's dig in. Charlie, I'd like to begin with you. Can you provide some history of the CIMS standard? How did it come into being, and why was the creation of this standard so important for the industry?
Well, I did hear the question, and I do want to welcome everybody first. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. We want to make everybody feel welcome and at ease. So thank you for that introduction, Anya, and I will talk about CIMS here. Finally, CIMS was put together around in 2007 by over 100 industry experts that are related to the ISSA International Association to the cleaning industry. And when they were feeling that, hey, we need to standardize this industry, they said, and we also need a certification. So by getting these experts together, they put together what we're calling the best practices to run a cleaning operation, be it if you're a contract cleaner or an in-house service provider, your cleaning operation should adhere to the best practices. That way, you're running an efficient business. You're also, running a safe business. You're delivering a high quality of service. And if you look and if you have the checklist, it really covers everything to run a great cleaning operation and to be profitable or stay within your budget. So that's kind of why and how. Basically, we want to raise the bar of excellence in the industry. And it kind of goes with our mission statement here at ISSA, change the way the world views cleaning. So if we're running good businesses and delivering high quality service, our clients are going to be happy and understand that this is a vital part of their operation. So that's more or less why it was put together.
So Charlie, there's 5 main elements of the CIMS standard, plus a 6th if a company wishes to go the route of green building status. Can you outline these elements and what they entail? Like, for example, quality systems. What exactly does that mean?
What a great question, Tanya. So there are the 5 elements of CIMS, and I just want to repeat it. It is the Cleaning Industry Management Standard. We have to remember that CIMS means that. So the 5 elements, as Tanya mentioned, the first one is quality system. So within the checklist, there's all these procedures that you have to adhere to become certified. So quality would kind of look at your scope of work and the tasks and frequencies and the quality of service delivered. So that's really the basis of quality systems. I'm going to continue through the service delivery, which is the second element. Service delivery is basically based on work loading. You have to know your staffing allotment as well as the amount of time allotted for each task. And that's important to the industry so that, we not only that's the way we can deliver high quality service and be fair to each cleaner and our clients. It includes service delivery, does include budgeting, costing, information, so on and so forth, and work plans and contingency plans. How you, if there's an emergency, how you handle that. Also, let's say there's a complaint, how you resolve that. So that's service delivery. Human resources. Well, human resources, almost every company has a department dedicated to that. And that basically, it should be a written policy of how you want to handle hiring or compliments to somebody that's doing well, and so on and so forth. Your hiring practices are very important within this industry, because a lot of our clients or the people within our facilities could have sensitive material, and we want to make sure we have good performing employees in those. So that's the basis of human resources, having good hiring practices and treating your employees correctly and safely. The 4th element is going to be health, safety, and environmental stewardship. That kind of explains it. You should be meeting all local and the government compliances. So, that it would include some of your SDS programs, your safety programs. You should have all these in place. How you handle environmental stewardship, which would be sustainability. Even though it's not the green building, you still have to have an environmental statement within your program at that point, and it'll be expanded when we get to the last one that I'm going to discuss. And certainly, workplace safety, very important. Workplace safety becomes an issue. You don't need employees not being able to show up to work. That's probably the biggest issue we have within this industry, is employees being there, and also retention. So if you give them a safe workplace, you'll have a better employee system in place. So that's health, safety, environmental. I do want to add one other thing there. A lot of the, and I did miss something in the service delivery, because service delivery is going to include your SOPs, which are standard operating practices, which brings me back to health and safety. Disinfecting. Disinfecting is a very important part of CIMS. You have to operate under the label of the manufacturers and the government agencies that approve those disinfectants, how to use them. And you also need a bloodborne pathogen program in place. So if in fact your employees are dealing with this, they have to know how to and what to do with these types of situations. So that kind of crosses over service delivery and health and safety. Management commitment, basically, the hierarchy within your operation, who to go to for certain situations, and you have to have a communication plan between management, employees, and the customer. So it's very important to have management in place so that everybody's treated fairly, and you can they know who to go to. So those are the 5. The 6th is our green building component. And if I were to just put that in a simple statement, that meets the LEED building. Now, I'm from the States. I'm sure I believe LEED is in Canada as well.
Yeah.
So that's leadership in, correct me if I'm wrong, energy and environmental design, and cleaning is a part of that. So what the CIMS group did was took the requirements that a LEED building would have and implemented them into the standard. So therefore, if you do qualify for the green building, you do meet the requirement for LEED. So if you do bid a LEED building or cleaning a LEED building, that certificate automatically gives them the points towards that LEED platform that they're on. It also is a very important marketing program. Nowadays, people are looking at sustainability and green and all the things that go along with it. I know there's the big buzzword is climate change, and so the impact of green cleaning weighs heavily in there. So I do want to say that the green building is an option. So the first 5 are required. The green building is an option, so you don't have to do it unless you want that marketing and LEED and sustainability program. And I do want to also mention, if you want that certification, you don't have to clean your entire operation green. Well, for example, if you're a contractor, you just have to prove that you have the ability to clean green within a certain number of buildings. If you have 100 buildings, we don't expect you to clean every 100 buildings green unless it's required. There usually is a higher cost to green cleaning, so that's the flexibility there. And there is flexibility within the green cleaning to allow you to use some non-green products. So I think that's important to understand. So you can be green without the entire company. If you're an in-house service provider, certainly if you want the green certification and it's one building, you need to comply to that within your building. And you can see the elements in our checklist and the standard, which I'm sure Tanya is going to lead you to how to find all this information, and you can certainly reach out to me. But I think that kind of goes through everything you wanted me to, correct, Tanya?
Absolutely. But I wanted to ask you, Charlie, you know, you've touched on all these elements, and you know, as we've all witnessed in the cleaning industry over the past couple of years, that there's been an evolution, if you will. So can you address, like, how often do you guys delve into the actual standard and massage it for what the industry is? Like, how often is it updated?
Well, first of all, I recommend massages bi-weekly. But as far as the standard goes, the standard was well put together, like I said, back in 2007, and there have been 2 updates. As the industry progresses and we feel there's changes, as I mentioned, they do look into it. ISSA does make record of changes within the industry and where we need to update the standard and the checklist. And like I said, there's been one since I've been on board as the account executive, but I know there was one previous to that. So we are entering into a new era, and I believe there will be changes in our industry. So we will continue to look at that. I do want to say our industry does change at a snail's pace. People tend to operate the way they have, and that's one of the biggest challenges in our industry, is to create change so that we are operating better.
That is true.
So we will keep on that. With the advent of COVID, it is all covered in the standard as far as disinfecting, those practices there, following label instructions. So it's always been in there. It just came to the forefront, which I believe has been good for our industry, in that now people are concerned with their cleaning and the cleaning that they're getting within their buildings, and we have to deliver that high end. Absolutely. What I do want to say, since I've said that, is the certification gives you the validation to go out there and show to your customers, to be proud of, to market it. And, so it does get looked at, and it does that validation, which is so important. And I think that's your next question.
Yes, that's what I was just going to say. So we have assessors here that span all across Canada. So maybe you guys can just explain what your role is and how the certification process works. Brent, would you like to start us off?
Okay, be glad to. I can see some names here that I know, so it's good to see everybody this morning. Well, this morning for my time zone. And Charlie summed up the view of CIMS, and the role of assessors is a very interesting position to be in, because you're being allowed access to a company's deepest, darkest secrets. And because CIMS certification is really basically customer driven, how does your organization satisfy your clients' needs? And then how do you document that? And how do you improve on that as a continual process? So when we have the role as an assessor, we're there to look at the documentation. If it isn't written down, it doesn't exist. And then we look at, are you practicing what you preach? Because we all know a manual is only as good as how it works out on the ground. And I'm sure that the other assessors here will agree with me, because we've spoken a lot about this. And we view this role as one of complete confidentiality. The information that we learn is absolutely kept there, is not used for any other purpose, and we can't violate that trust in working with the client. And that's really what our role is to represent the ISSA and CIMS, so that the client can take a snapshot. And when we go through all of the questions that we need to, the things that have to be done, the things that should be done, and the things that would be really nice if you did. And we have to stay within the CIMS standard for that. And then we have to help the client see where they need to change to improve. I'll give you an example of that. Just working, finishing up with a major contracting company here in Canada. Oh yeah, and Charlie, do we have lead in Canada? Well, I happen to be a lead assessor as well. And per capita, Canada is the highest compliance to lead in any country in the world. And just
well, that's good to know, Brent. Thank you for that.
You are very welcome. And that's just patting us on the back a bit this morning. But it's true. So when we go in there and we're helping people, we then have to do the difficult part, is to allow them to see where they are not in compliance, where they need to meet the standard. And sometimes that takes pushback, but in a lot of cases, like this client I was just telling you about, I can't give you their name, but they're a large coast-to-coast supplier. The previous assessment 2.5 years ago, they had some recommendations to look after. We just finished this over a period of 8 days, and coast to coast, they had changed their operation to match what we saw. And talk about a compliment to CIMS and to this, that they responded because they are client responsive. And that's what the CIMS is about, is really, how are you going to challenge and then improve your overall operations? CIMS is a never-ending goal of getting better at doing what we do. It promotes a structure and consistency, and they made these changes to fit in, and they were saying, wow, now we see the benefit of this. And when we're talking to several thousands, 10,000 plus employees, you know that is just a symbol of what we're doing actually works. And if that is how we feel, at least that's how I feel about this. I'm sure Derek feels the same way.
Derek, yes, I was just going to say, Derek.
Well, these guys are making it a tough act to follow, right? So I'm going to try my best here. So for us, the process begins with an introduction of, what's to be expected. We take the time to meet with the people involved and explain what CIMS certification process is. and generally how it would unfold. So, we let them know that we will be looking at SOPs, training modules, workloading methods, cleaning products, et cetera. I view our roles as assessors, we're there to help our clients throughout the CIMS accreditation process. So that means to me, being available to them, answering any questions they may have, really being an open book when it comes to, the CIMS certification. And, I tend to see clients kind of look at it as being too big and overwhelming. So, I like to make sure that they don't lose sight of the goal, because, at times it can really be a daunting task. So, to echo what Brent was saying, it's we are there. We are in like he says, in their darkest and deepest secrets. So it's important to build a trust with the client and let them know that, whatever we see is going to stay between us, and we're really there to help them improve, what they already have in place.
Yeah.
So in terms of the certification process, who are you guys seeing in terms of companies coming in for CIMS certification? Who benefits the most from this program? Shane, do you want to address that? Awesome. Derek, go ahead.
So, I've been in the industry for a long time, and I really believe that the industry as a whole benefits from the CIMS certification. CIMS being an industry standardization certification can only be beneficial to all involved, from the property manager all the way down to the end user. I can give you an example of, wouldn't you feel comfortable being, shopping in a mall that you knew the building was CIMS certified, or, your children attending university or college that is CIMS certified, that the SOPs are there, that the regulation is there, they follow public security, they follow, all the government SOPs. It's just reassuring to know that, an organization is CIMS certified.
Yeah.
So Brent, in terms of going on further with that question, what about company size? Like, does it matter on the size of the company?
Well, to follow up on what Derek so nicely put there, we're asking big questions, but we've seen, like last year, we've seen a lot of new companies ask for certification, and from maybe a dozen employees all the way up to tens of thousands of employees. And it doesn't matter, because when I was back running as a contractor, or even as a distributor, I would have loved to have this standard to be able to measure my organization against, so that we could continue to satisfy our customer. So with that in mind, it doesn't matter. Like I said, we've seen a small company where the owner, it took them a while, but when she realized this was a way to run your company, it was a management standard. There were principles that were put together. The ISSA back in 2006 put together all these committees from a broad range that added to this standard, and then we've improved it as time has gone on. So the principles of good management, it doesn't matter the size of your organization, whether it's a university, whether it's a hospital, wherever you are, it doesn't matter. It's harder for a small company to allocate the resources to do this, but the results are incredible. We've seen one company I worked with 4 years ago, the owner, she went and she has tripled the size of her business. Not only that, but the profitability has gone up 34% over those years. She is excited about CIMS. She is on board and excited about ISSA and the resources that we can bring to bear. If that, in a roundabout way, satisfies that question.
Absolutely. Shane, did you want to add anything to that?
Yes, thank you. Sorry for the technical reality. I think just to voice off what the other assessors have said is I think the bigger part of the equation is that small or large, what we are finding over a 10-year period is a huge increase in either efficiency and or bottom line operational excellence. And that seems to be the underlying comments we get back when we go for reassessments, is that the investment that people make into CIMS, although maybe first go around seemed daunting, second go around they saw some advantages, third go around, wow, we really do see the money savings and the value. So I think that that's, echoing what everybody on the team is actually saying. It's true.
So basically, how long does it take to achieve the certification?
That varies between different sizes of organizations. I think that what people have already gone through it will realize is if they get exterior help to do policy processes, one scenario, or they have it internally done, it is a reworking of what you do to get service excellence and to get better at it. So it can take as short as 3 months and can take a year. It really does depend on how much energy and time and resource and what you've already got, and then adapting that to where you want to get to and where you're really looking to get out of CIMS, really.
So once the company gets the ball rolling in terms of timeframes to complete the certification, is there a specific time frame whereas they have to complete all of the elements to achieve the certification?
I'd like to chime in on that, Tanya. So,
absolutely.
So, there's a lot been said. Everything's positive here, and to get into the real reality of what happens in the process is there's what I do is find out a little bit about the organization so we can properly allocate the assessment, and so then there's an application process that we need to get your commitment, and there's a fee for the application, and that application is good for 1 year, and we're saying in that you do have 1 year to complete it. The average we're finding is, to reiterate what Shane said, is about 90 days, depending on where the company is with the checklist. We call what you need to do is, if you've been in this business, have running a successful business, you need to do a gap analysis and really find out where you need to improve your structure. It can be a challenging and daunting task. I think, and to reiterate once again what Derek said, you have to look at it as individual pieces. Don't look at it as the whole, because you may frustrate yourself. But take each element and work on it, and work with the assessor. Use me as a ability to get information on it. So that could take up to 90 days, 6 months. They put a year on it only for the fact that, if you can't do this in a year, we don't know if you can be CIMS certified, but it kind of puts everybody in perspective of, hey, we need to get this done. It's a commitment. So that kind of gives you the timeline of how this is, how this runs. After the assessment and the visit, the site visits, the account visits, the management and staff visits, the assessors take that information and compile a recommendation letter. So the recommendation letter will line out to me just the specifics of how you perform, none of that confidential information, and it will tell me what certification that you've achieved. So there's CIMS, certainly the 5 elements, and there's CIMS with honor. So if you have the checklist, or if you want the checklist, I'll certainly send it to you. There's certain elements, requirements within each element, and so there's the shoulds, which you have to do all of them. The shalls, you have to do at least 60% of them. If you do 85%, you get what we call honors. It's always nice to see that little tagline after your CIMS certification that says honors. It kind of gives you that elite status. And then we have the CIMS.
Sorry, Brent had his hands up. I thought he wanted to add on, chime in on that.
Absolutely. So as an assessor, we assess the work you've already done. And so within this, we have the cleaning certification experts that can actually go in and hold your hand and guide you through that. And plus we have people that you can't be an expert for them and be an assessor. It's a conflict of interest. So we love to help you, but we're limited by the scope of what we're doing in that. I mean, our hearts would have been, yeah, we'd love to do that, but we're there to assess where your business is. It's not that we don't want to help you, it's just that that's our role as an assessor. But the certification experts, which ISSA have, and also online starting in April, you can become your own, and it's well worthwhile. That helps you with the framework. We're glad to give you advice, but we can't help you revamp your business. We can tell you what you need to work on. And it's this difficult role, and it is sometimes difficult because we just want to reach out and help. And so that's where we come from.
Yeah, to add to that, I guess you do want to, look at the expert program, and there it is a fine line between what they have to do as verification and consulting. So I think they have to be true to the certification. So yeah, there are options to help you get through it. So to add to what I was saying as well, there's the honors program, and you can certainly get that, which is great. And then there's the GB program, which you can also get with honors. And the whole timeline, going back to the question of how long does it take, once again, as Shane said, the average 3 months, 6 months, hopefully not the full year, but that's the timeline. And then to express my firm belief is it's constant, continuous improvement. You get the certification, you continue to move that needle forward on improvement. So in the 2-year process, you have to recertify. The assessor hopes to see more improvement. They also need to be transparent from the first assessment. So they'll probably want to see different accounts, talk to different employees, make sure, it's not just set to show you one account that you're doing a great job at. ISSA, the association, is going to represent you as an elite company. So it's going to be transparent as well. And the experience that they bring, they'll know how to react with your clients. There are some sensitive areas, and they're all very professional. They've been trained, they've been tested, and certainly we appreciate all their hard work. But the real appreciation goes to the certifying agency. I mean,
yeah.
You're really elevating what we want to bring to the industry, and not to diminish the program, but the marketing that you get from becoming certified is one of the greatest benefits. To go out and talk to your clients, what you've accomplished, show them the checklist, just go over the certification. They're going to say, wow, you're really investing in your company to give me the best product you can. Use it in your marketing for new clients. I mean, to talk to them about what your certification stands for is a great opportunity to really differentiate yourself from other companies out there. So, I could go on and on with benefits, and in order to, and we also, I'll send you the checklist. You can have the checklist if you want to improve your.
That was one of my questions. So once you achieve certification, how do you differentiate yourself? You carry around a shiny piece of paper with you? No, like there's so much support, right, Charlie? To back up.
Absolutely. We have a marketing program with it. There's the logo program. There's various, now a lot of people are using social media to put out there what they offer and how they offer. You have your websites, and certainly promote it. I mean, I know I sound a little bit off, but I don't know much about the Canadian operations. I'm here in the States. We have what we call chambers of commerce within each metropolitan area. If you have that, I mean, you could reach out to them. You can reach out to other associations, affiliations. It really, not everybody out there is going to can say they're CIMS certified. But those that are CIMS certified certainly are at the top of their game. And that's why we want to keep it that way. That's why we have to do renewals and recertifications. All certifications require a renewal. if I were to say driver's license, I think we need to do more. Some people on the road are, but you have to renew, and if you get too many speeding tickets, you can't. So renewal process is important to the continual growth.
Derek, did you want to add to that?
I do. I actually wanted to go back to the question about, the size of the organization and, the cost of being CIMS certified. We read a lot of RFPs, and over the last few years, we've seen a shift where CIMS, it's started to be a key element in RFP documents.
Yep.
So property managers are starting to recognize the impact CIMS is having in their facilities, and they've actually begun to recommend, and in some instances, actually obligate bidders to be CIMS certified.
Yep.
So yes, it can be expensive, but with the importance our industry is being given today, and the role that we play in helping people stay healthy, we believe that by being CIMS certified, it'll help organizations open doors that they may not have access to before their CIMS certification.
Well, that
Absolutely.
said, let's address the elephant in the room. With regards to cost for some smaller companies, the whole certification process might be somewhat steep, but Shane, can you address the value proposition and the return on investment?
Yeah, it's a common question that we do get, and it's really what you decide is how do you position risk management? Do you have all of these policies, processes, and procedures to be legally compliant, or do you do that as part of your program and be a better company with CIMS? What we find is people, if they're small and they look at a budgetary position and say, well, what am I going to invest every month to be a better company? And if you look at a budgetary position, we would say to people, hey, if you're mentally in the mindset of saying this could cost me $500,000 a month, that's possible overall in a perspective. Yes, that you could be budgeting that, but you could be gaining $2,000 to $5,000 a month in value. So it does depend on the size of the firm. It does depend on the size and what people already have. They can get, roughly 20 different consultants across the world can help put paperwork together to help them. In the same token, too, they may already have a lot of stuff done. So there is a balance there, but there's also a budgetary reality. If you're a $500,000 contractor and you don't think you could budget $1,000 a month to make your business better, double, or to Brent's point, clients, we have a lot of them that are double, triple the size and highly profitable now, and have said we're highly profitable because of CIMS. So if you do have to make an investment, and maybe lump sum, and Charlie can address the dollars and cents to the CIMS piece of it overall, but it is just budgeting money to be best practices and to avoid risk management issues. If you get a fine or you're not in business because of, or you had a risk liability because you didn't have a policy, it becomes expensive at that point. So, maybe Charlie better off to set the dollar sets on ISSA there, Charlie.
Well, thank you, Shane. So, basically, to level the playing field, I guess is a good term to use. It gives opportunity to those small to mid-sized companies to be looked at the same as the larger ones. So, the pricing is based on, I would say, your company profile, the way you go to market as far as the size. So obviously a smaller company is going to have a lower price and a larger company is going to have a substantially higher price. But as a CIMS certified company, you should be recognized on a level playing field. So, so that initial investment, would be some, smaller for a small company, and 25, 30,000 for larger companies. You could see where the price is adjusted for how your operation is and the scope of where you operate. Do you operate throughout Canada? Do you operate in one province or one city? So that really is what the price is based on. But there is certainly a return on it, no matter what that price is that's set for your size company. The return on investment is all we've been talking about here. One of the things that we didn't really pinpoint is documentation. It's such a very important part of the certification. If you're running a good business but you don't have it documented, what happens when you're challenged? Your word is good, but if it's on paper, written, and provable, you're going to have a better opportunity to speak to your client. be it about training or theft or so on and so forth. Documentation is so important. And that's what a lot of people find that, oh my God, I got so much to do. But if you don't have that, I mean, you could be open for litigic, lawsuits, and all this is going to just save you money, which is incalculable if you're, sued, or if you have a workman's comp type issue. That documentation could protect you from multiple costs. So there's that kind of hidden benefit. And and don't get stressed by the documentation. It's only going to make you a better company, and it's going to protect you. So once again, the price, there is a return on it. And once again, once you're certified, it levels that playing field between the larger, medium, and small companies. You are meeting those requirements. I hope that kind of answered, Anya, what you kind of threw out.
Yeah. Brent, did you want to add something to that?
Yeah, to what is being beautifully said so far, is just that we've seen this with this latest pandemic. There will be more. The part that talks about emergency responses is being CIMS certified. That's what we look at, is how is your company positioned to do this? So we've seen this work, and I see in the audience, we've got Eva and Mike, totally different situations, but both big institutions that have used CIMS and come through COVID with a program that worked well due to being CIMS, and I know them personally. So this CIMS is not product or cleaning technique driven. We're not trying to sell you foo-foo juice to clean with, or one piece of equipment. We're completely neutral where that comes to it. So what we're looking at is a well-run, customer-centered, sustainable organization. And that's what this does as a platform to build big or small, and the cost on your ROI, or your return on investment, anytime you make your company work better and lower your complaints, then you're going to make more money in the service business. I don't care what company you are, we're in the service business. So this is what we're looking for, is to make sure that people continually improve, and the process, the procedures, and the documentation helps you. So you're paying it forward is really what you're doing as an organization, big or small.
So final thoughts. If there's a key takeaway from today's conversation, what would you like to tell our audience? Derek?
Yeah, so if there's a key thing that I would like these folks to walk away with, it's for them to realize that, not only CIMS is a great program for them as an organization, but again, I'm going to repeat myself from what I said a little bit earlier, but also as an end user. Again, we'd all feel more comfortable, shopping in centers that we know are CIMS certified, working in buildings that we know are CIMS certified. And at the end of the day, we all benefit from CIMS certification. CIMS is an added value to any organization, and there are plenty of facilities out there that would, I think, echo our sentiment today.
Brent?
Having assessed businesses from Alaska to South America under CIMS, we're all in the service business. And when you put CIMS certification to work for you, you implemented universally acceptable principles of management, then you make your customers happy, and happy customers are profitable customers. So that's what this is about. And I got to tell you, it's a joy working with Derek and with Mr. Ferris. I respect their experience and also their dedication to this standard.
Shane?
Yeah, I think just generally overall, best in class people who want to make an investment in a change in their business. CIMS is a very, very good roadmap. If you don't know where to start and you want to be better and you want to change, CIMS is a proven, successful roadmap. And it's a journey. And if you want to be better and you want to be more successful, it's going to be a little bit of pain, but there's also joy. And having a roadmap and having, an industry to back you up to get there is what I think is, what we always have been, and we need to get better at as we move ahead. So definitely a positive journey for a lot of people.
And Charlie?
Well, I think it goes back to our mission statement here at the association, change the way the world views cleaning. You know, this industry over the years has had some bad rap as far as, you know, if something was wrong, it was the cleaning. It was the cleaners. It was the cleaners, this and that. CIMS is going to raise elevate how we appear within facilities. And that's the bottom line, which brings me to my next statement, the bottom line. We all know we are in this business to be profitable or run a financially stable business. It's going to help you get there while also having happy customers, delivering quality product, running a safe company, and keeping yourself prepared for those incidents that come up, COVID, other incidents within a facility. So definitely we're going to elevate and give you the ability to go out and tell people that we've achieved this.
Well, thanks, everybody. I'd like to open the floor to questions. Judith, I know you have been waiting patiently.
Thank you, Tanya. Yeah, I actually did take your long time ago, your informational course about this opportunity. I have a couple of questions. Like, when you go through this process, what is the difference between a bigger organization and a smaller organization? Like, my organization is under $1 million and we're residential cleaners. Sorry, my cat just wants to love me right now.
I would like to defer. Well, certainly the price is going to be different for a smaller or larger, but I defer to an assessor to kind of answer that question.
Brent?
Well, I've talked a lot. Maybe Derek and Shane can address that.
I can review that with you. So we've had about 4 or 5 residential style, high service level people go through the CIMS process. And from a costing perspective, it's an investment of your time in your policies and your processes. Again, I'll go back to the commentary of investing. If you're doing $1 million, X number of dollars, put 1% of whatever your revenue position is to reinvest into your business and try to allocate those funds. Build that up to the point where you feel comfortable either investing in that, have it outsourced, or do it or hire somebody externally or internally to do that for you. And at that point, then take the branding and then elevate what you're already doing to your client base and retain what you've already got, and then try to grow your business from that piece of it. Definitely.
So yeah, somewhat. That really wasn't my question. My question was like, what is the process like between a bigger and a smaller company who wants to apply for the certification? Like what I would say, like, I understand that you need to have your HR processes in place, your accounting, your actual cleaning processes and everything. So, I mean, I'm very different from a hospital or a university for that matter. And we go into people's homes, right? So again, that's different.
Yeah, so I'll answer that again. It is individual and it is unique to the size and to the scope of work that you do. So yours would be fundamentally less intensive than, say, for example, a school or potentially like a healthcare facility. So it is individually to your business. So whatever that is, we're not. It is completely unique to what you do, and our assessment process. We've done many people like yourselves in that space. So it's really you. It's you and your business and the value that you deliver. We just make sure that your SOP is the same value that your output is that you're providing for residential cleaning, and making sure that you are using, commercial or industrial style disinfectants, the difference between sanitizing and disinfecting, and making sure your policies match that.
Okay. So when we go through the process, do you guys have a percentage that somebody needs to pass in each section or overall, or?
Yeah, our standard is a 6. There's a once Charlie would be happy to send you the guideline. Our base minimum is at 60% and then up. And again, that's part of that process. Once you go through that paperwork, you'll see that sense. And again, some situations may apply or may not apply to you. And maybe we have a mandatory section, and then we have a shall and a may in some of those areas. And it is adaptable to organizations like yourself, as opposed to we may have some that for like a healthcare facility might be different, or a college or a university.
Oh, okay, good. That's great. And then once let's say I go through the process and in some areas I don't reach 60%, so I need to do some work. And some things can take longer than others. How do I have that whole year, or how does your review process work for that?
Yeah, it's a great question. So what we do is each assessor does it a little bit differently, but we do have a baseline from ISSA and how we help coach that. We do give you timelines. A part of our process is we do ask for like an affirmation letter that you abide by the requirements. And then we will also give you, if you have a deficiency, we'll tell you what the deficiency is. You'll provide us an action plan, and then you'll provide proof as you go forward. And then we would then prepare our assessment letter, pass or fail, based on the information that you provide.
No, okay. It's a great program. I mean, the city of Calgary, the city of Toronto, so I'm just talking about Canada, of course, is all certified, and they want to be working with other certified companies. So I think in the commercial sector, commercial cleaning sector, this is definitely a game changer. I understand the marketing as well, how I can market myself, definitely. But like, it's a lot of work for a smaller company, but I would think that it would be definitely worth it.
Great. Mm-hmm.
That said, where do people start if they want to achieve this and they've committed to the CIMS certification process? Charlie, do they start with you?
Generally, yes. I'm the front line to start the process. We have to talk, see where your need is, and certainly find out how your company is profiled so that we can get you in the right price, and definitely see where you are as far as operational. I mean, is this going to be something attainable, or is it not attainable? We don't, and we certainly want you to become CIMS certified. So, and that's going to improve your business. So, yeah, it starts with kind of just the initial discussion and interview about how you operate, and then we move quickly, hopefully, into the initial stages of getting, the guidebook to you, which takes the checklist. For those of you that don't have the checklist, please reach out to Tanya or myself, and I will send it to you, non-committal. Once you commit to moving forward, you get the guidebook. Now, one of the things, you don't have to be completely ready to apply, because you really need that guidebook to break down that checklist. And the guidebook is more or less a how-to. It takes each individual item on the checklist and kind of gives you a direction of how to prepare that so you can have it ready for the assessor. So, yeah, it starts to proceed quickly, but the assessors really don't get involved until you're totally committed and there's a financial commitment, a deposit that you pay, so that we can start, allotting some of the payment to the assessor, because their time is very precious to them and us and to you. So we want everything to move systematically through. So yeah, reach out to me and I could set up everything you need to really look at this program.
Okay, Brent, did you want to add to that?
Yes. First of all, having started and branded and then subsequently sold a housekeeping business that was very similar to what you're doing, it's the service business. And structurally, as managing your resources and providing a service, you're no different than the University of Calgary or some major cleaning company. It's the principles that allow you to grow. You make sure of your ground first and stand on it. What I would suggest is also go to the ISSA website and look at the CIMS material available. There is just a rich amount of material there. that you can look at and get a sense of where you need to go, and then working with Charlie, and then make the steps. Don't make a leap, but make the steps to elevate your organization. And that's literally what you're doing. So don't be afraid to grow and make your life easier with this program. I speak from experience. I wish I had this back in the day when I was contracting it. It really does work. But make your steps. You've got lots of support, and the progress is linear. It's not a leap of faith.
Brent, thank you for bringing up the website. There's certainly a lot of information there on CIMS. If you get into the main page, either our page or the Canadian page, right on the home page, there should be a logo to click on, and it brings you to there. Eventually, it does end up with me. So, but that's a great start to find information. There's a wealth of information there, and we're also continually improving that as well. So.
Well, we have Mr. Mike Love here from the University of Calgary, who might have some experience with the CIMS certification. Mike, do you want to address that?
Yes, sure. We in 2014, I took over at the University of Calgary, and I took over a situation that Brent is very familiar with. There were I would say lots of opportunities, as my colleagues would say, to improve. It took about a year to change. And we used CIMS as our guideline on what should we be focusing on. And we basically, what I drove the team to look at is what can we achieve really quick. There were some quick wins that are easily you can convert your operation and start looking at that and putting them into play. And then as we started getting those accomplished, then we started looking at the ones that were a little harder and that required more investment and more change. But like I've told Brent, strategy is eaten by culture every day. So you need to drive this into your culture of your operation and into your team. If you don't build a culture around continuous improvement and consistent delivery around this, then it's going to fall apart. So it's constantly reviewing it, constantly making sure that everything is aligned and driving towards that. And certainly CIMS is in the industry, it's a drive to zero. And you see that everywhere. And I've observed, we have to, and constantly at the university we get challenged by, you look at these guys could do it cheaper, but we have to educate them, and that's really where the part of having this system together is great, but it's also educating those to understand what this system really is to make the janitorial world a professional organization, and not just pick somebody off the street and give them a rag and say go clean. It's clearly there's still a lot of belief that that's what it is till you start sharing with people what's going on, and there's more to it than that. And I think with COVID coming out, I think there's a heightened awareness of this, but it still needs to continue. So yeah, my 2 cents. Don't want to take the whole time here, but yeah.
Thank you.
But just to appreciate, over the last few years, we've been able to reduce our overall budget probably $1 million a year, year over year. So I say it comes at it's less than fun to do, but we're able to actually deliver on that and still keep the outcomes better than when 8 years ago when we took over. So it continues improving. So it's good.
Thank you. Lou, you had a question?
Yes, I apologize. I put it in the chat.
I see that. Thank you.
Been some great answers here, been enlightening, and certainly some themes that I really can appreciate and respect. I suppose the question is, I work for Sunnybrook Health Sciences Centre in Toronto, and which is not a private business, of course, a hospital. And I'm interested in CIMS because I'm wondering how the certification program can help my organization and the division build confidence in the safety and security of the environment we provide for patient care, and how it takes place in this facility, especially when you consider that, this is shown to be, evidence has shown that it can be the difference between good outcomes for patients and bad outcomes for patients. When you think about the kinds of things that we contend with, and examples being C. difficile and VRE and other complicated organisms that really present a risk to patient safety, just in general, in the type of settings that we have here. So I wonder how CIMS can be a credit or a support to establishing for those who would be patients and their families to have confidence in a healthcare setting in a post-pandemic age.
Brent, did you want to address that, or Charlie?
Basically, I think we have an expert here, Mike Love, who has a very strong background in healthcare. Also, myself and Shane have worked in healthcare with epidemiology and setting up cleaning programs across Canada. And I'm sure that talking to Mike could, as a user, he has my deepest respect for the transformations he's done using CIMS. You guys could talk together for hours, and I know what he would say. But I know from my standpoint that the CIMS standard helps you manage the process of cleaning anything, whether it's healthcare or a military base. It is the documentation that you can take to epidemiology and say, these are the processes. How do you feel about what we're doing? Because if it isn't written down, it doesn't exist. And if you don't keep track, you can't improve. And you know that the hospital is always, whether it's C. difficile or E. coli or whatever particular pathogen, and ORs are different than emerge, in that. But having a standardization, and whether you're contracting or you're in-house, you can use this as a process to improve and also document you're doing the best you can with what we've got, whether it's SARS, H1N1, whatever is going, and what the next pandemic will be. This gives you the tool to manage your resources, if that helps. But I know that you'd really enjoy talking to Mike.
I think from a patient and family standpoint, if you have CIMS, it's a communication point. I know you mentioned epidemiology or whatever those departments are, but for the person walking in the door, certainly if there's a hospital newsletter or an informational packet or anything at the reception desk that can assure them, hey, the place is being cleaned properly, CIMS is definitely a certification, is a validation of that. And it's just about communication outside of your department. And that would go for a hospital, a college or university. I mean, certainly families looking at a university are going to, be impressed by a CIMS certified cleaning operation. As far as a building contractor goes, I mean, your client will also want to communicate to his either occupants or people that lease property from them that, that you're handling the cleaning to the highest level. And so that's really one of the benefits of CIMS to all those levels, from the hospital to the in-house to the building contractor.
Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but we've come to time. And I appreciate all of yours that you've given us today. I hope there will be contact information available from this session, so you can reach out to Charlie directly and he can provide guidance for whatever needs that you have. And in the meantime, again, I thank you all for participating and attending today. And I hope to see everybody again for our next session on March 23rd. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay.